Jazz gigs seldom turn out exactly as we expect them to. Since jazz is by definition an improvised art, this should come as no surprise. It's a maze which often thrills, sometimes shatters, and continually amazes us. Let's say, for example, that you arrive at the gig late, stressed, unshowered, unready to perform. And it's at this point that a fan drops in a $100 bill in the tip jar. Herbie Hancock wants to sit in, and your first solo provokes a standing ovation in your dreams, right? The nature of jazz will, at times, lead to the unexpected, to exciting innovation, to surprise, to joyful discovery. Occasionally it leads nowhere. After all, life's mazes do include blind alleys. Just the same, we press on regardless, as my dad often preached on rainy hikes, in search of the perfect note, right? Back in the not-so-good old days of youthful exuberance, a few clams could easily shatter my confidence and derail the entire performance. These days, it seems like a half dozen beautiful notes add up to a really, really great evening. Countless anecdotal sagas throughout jazz history describe mystical, unplanned, miraculous innovations spontaneously erupting on the bandstand. While some of these legends are born of bluster and fabrication, many are meticulously documented. Any seasoned artist has repeatedly marveled and rejoiced at their unanticipated advent. Here's a simple, unremarkable example of personal surprise I experienced firsthand just last night. I began playing the horn without any inspiration, with no expectations, with only one little idea in hand. That idea was a 12-tone row that I composed 40 years ago. It goes like this. As I began playing this row and messing around with it, the row inevitably started to morph into other streams, other ideas. Does that tendency indicate restless inquisitiveness or just a lack of discipline? Either way, for better or for worse, it's my way, and it causes me to constantly change lanes throughout my musical journey. By the end of the session, that little row had mutated into this phrase, which I practiced in all 12 keys. If you want to practice that phrase in all 12 keys, click on the link below this video to download a chart and a recording. Do you improvise or compose in this way? Restlessly exploring the outer limits of your imagination? If so, please share your experience in the comments section below the video. Some call that creative experimentation. Others chide us, accusing us of haphazard meandering. Either way, if this is how you like to work, you'll soon discover that you tend to prefer certain paths over others. Your musical preferences are roughly analogous to your unique choices of certain foods, clothing styles, verbal expressions, friends you gravitate towards, and favorite activities. Those proclivities help define your unique personality. They help make you who you are. A very special individual, one of a kind. You're a treasure. In my case, here are some of the things that I prefer in music I listen to or create. See how they compare with things that you gravitate towards. Number one, I generally prefer rhythmic vitality, variety, swing, funkiness, syncopation. I don't like those static rhythms that go nowhere. That said, rhythmic patterns should not be so arbitrary, so jerky, so non-repetitive that they feel random, like darts thrown by a beginner or paint just dribbled on a tarp. Too much variety and you lose unity and coherence. You end up with music that's hard to play and it's a drag to listen to, in my opinion. Number 2, I take care to avoid repeating the same pitch on the same strong beat. Da 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 da. That gets to be monotonous. Now, a notable exception to that rule is the conscious, intentional repetition found in a piece like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Da 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 da. Or Jobim's one-note samba. This is just a little samba built upon a single note, in which repetition creates the desired emphasis or drama, word painting, or humor. Number 3, I prefer a winsome melodic contour with peaks and valleys, smooth rather than jagged. Number 4, regarding harmonies. During the iterative process, my harmonies tend to evolve towards simpler, less atonal, more logical progressions. You get the picture if you visualize a sculpture chipping away at a piece of stone or sanding a block of wood until a shiny, smooth surface emerges. Of course, the creative process begins with helter-skelter brainstorming. Many streams of consciousness are encouraged during that initial burst of creative energy. But the ensuing edit process narrows down all these random flights of fancy into a more organized architecture that makes more sense. So a composition initially cluttered by many off-the-wall, non-related chords is gradually transformed into a finished work free of gnarly edges, chords that feel kind of out of place. That gives improvisers a set of chord changes they can easily navigate to create beautiful melodies rather than those jerky non sequiturs you hear in solos over disjointed outside chord changes. So what are your preferences? Are there consistent trends in your style, or is your music all over the map? I hope you'll share your thoughts in the comments section below so we can all benefit from your wisdom. If you haven't yet determined the nature of your own personal aesthetic criteria, now may be an excellent time to start doing that. As the Cheshire Cat told Alice, if you ain't got no destination in mind, any old road will take you there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.